hot toys. The hottest of hot toys that you can still obtain on pre-order. Not my finest hook, but you get the idea. Today we're gonna count down the top 10 hot toys that you can still reasonably obtain for now. But before we get started, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell down below so you're notified when content goes live here. That said, let's discuss the 10 hottest of hot toys that you probably shouldn't live without. Thank you so much for joining me for another video today. And before we get started, a brief disclaimer. If you don't care about these characters that I'm about to present or the universe they come from, or you don't have some sort of nostalgic connection to the character, or even a practical display need for the character in your collection, then you should avoid a FOMO purchase and pass. Don't let my opinion sway you. Just because I believe these figures are elite, it doesn't mean by your own personal set of criteria that they're going to be under the same judgment. So I think you should consider your own circumstances and make the decision individually. With that said, let's jump into number 10. I may surprise some people with number 10, but at number 10, I have Squid Game Seong-gi-hun. So I'm a huge fan of the Squid Game series. I cannot wait for season 3. I love season 1. I love season 2 even more than season 1. It did end on a massive cliffhanger, but I do know in June we are going to get the finale that is season 3. And I am super excited that this figure was even made in the first place. Now, Hot Toys announced they had the Squid Game license several months back now, and then we started to see Cos babies and other things like that, and I was like, okay, we're probably not gonna see any 6-scale figures. I decided to keep my expectations in check. But eventually, Hot Toys said, you know what? You were wrong, Will. We're gonna go ahead and announce a Seong-gi-hun here, and you're gonna be able to pre-order this bad boy in 1/6 scale. And I was over the moon. This was a dopo with Comic Concepts. Already got this guy secured. Cannot wait to see Frontman, possibly Thanos, and maybe some more characters from the show. Super excited about that. Ilnan would also be super cool, but these are season 2 figures after all, and he is not a part of season 2. However, I do love how this figure looks. 456, you have the patch there with the red X, of course, for voting no in the games. And the accessories aren't as important with this one, but you do have the voting machine that is USB light up operated. You have seamless ankles, which is awesome. I love that because visible ankle joints would be pretty unsightly on this figure. And I'm glad that Hot Toys has elected to hide those for us. I don't love the visible wrist pegs. I wish Hot Toys would just use seamless forearms for these characters. I truly do not understand why they're not doing that. These are very small consolation prizes for collectors. You know, most third-party companies are doing this nowadays. Toys R Us, Lim Toys, other companies like that, Game Toys certainly are doing stuff like that. But it's just very simple. I don't know why it's not happening. Either way, LED-powered light-up voting machine, which is pretty cool. Although on display, you're probably not going to see those small little blue and red buttons. Still, pretty cool accessory. I think it's all about the head sculpt for this guy. It's the presence. It's what it actually offers you in your display. This is, I think, from my recollection, the most popular show on Netflix in history. So extremely popular cultural phenomenon show. Amazing head sculpt of Lee Jung-jae. And you got to have the rest of the figures with this. I mean, if you just have him by himself, it's probably not going to work. But if you have him and Frontman and Thanos, it could look really dynamic in a display. At number 9, we have the God Loki Hot Toys figure. And this is from Loki Season 2 of the Disney Plus TV series. There is an artisan version, which I have secured on PO because I'm probably the biggest Loki fan in our hobby, self-proclaimed. And I had to get this guy. Although the sculpted version does look fantastic. This certainly looks to be the best Tom Hiddleston head sculpt that Hot Toys has ever produced. And they have gotten progressively better. A lot of the Loki sculpts are just not quite there in terms of likeness to Tom Hiddleston, but it's starting to get better. This one definitely is the closest to, representation that I think is pretty damn close to the actor Tom Hiddleston, and I'm pretty happy with that. You have the gold metallic paint application throne. Of course, you have the strands of time that Loki is manipulating there with his energy effects. You have some green, magic hands, which are going to be pretty cool as well. So Loki's going to be able to do some cool stuff here. He doesn't come with too many accessories, but putting him on the throne in this dynamic, iconic now outfit This is pretty great. I love Loki season 1. I love Loki season 2. I'm a huge fan of what they've done with the character. At first, I was a little bit hesitant because he was so different than he was in Avengers, and this is the Loki that really lost in New York. And I was like, but I think at the end of the day, they really took the character in a positive direction, and he's going to be a huge part of Doomsday and Secret Wars. That's my theory. He's already been announced for Doomsday, so I think there's going to be a huge role for Loki to play in this whole thing as, you know, the god of stories and the one who's overseeing the timeline now. So this Loki, I think, could be a very important Loki moving forward. And it's not one that I personally believe that we should pass on. It could end up being the definitive Loki, although Avengers is probably going to get an artisan version at some point, would be my speculation. And that one is the outfit that most collectors really go for the most. But this one is damn cool. This is the culmination of Loki's journey, because this is where he ends up after his whole character development. So for me, I'm actually thinking that this is going to be one that's going to be very important to collectors, and it could be a FOMO purchase. Like some collectors end up passing and then regretting on it. But for me, I'm not going to be in that boat. This guy's already secured, and I'm getting the artisan version with the rooted hair. So pick up whatever version you would like, but this guy's going to be pretty awesome. At number 8, we have the Hot Toys Scorched Xenomorph from Alien Romulus. And this was a film that I very much enjoyed. I actually watched it with my mom and brother like maybe a couple months back now, and I really liked it. I like the old Alien films as well. I've seen Alien 1 and 2, but it's been quite a while since I've watched those. So I don't have as much of a nostalgic pull to those as other collectors do, but this one I do because I really enjoyed it. There have been some criticisms that it's kind of like a greatest hits of Aliens films, but I do kind of like that. I think it worked for people, and I think overall it was still a great film that I very much enjoyed. So I'm getting this Scorched Xenomorph because I really want a Xenomorph in my collection, and this guy looks badass. I have heard about the jaw being possibly rubber and maybe deteriorating a little bit more quickly than we would like based on precedent and past versions of different Xenomorph figures, but this guy looks fantastic. I think this is going to be one that's going to have an insane amount of presence on the shelf. I love the light up diorama base with the LED function. It's going to be USB powered, which is fantastic. I think this certainly, as long as it doesn't break down, is going to be in everyone's figure of the year for 2025, 2026, whichever year it ends up releasing. So I think, again, if you're looking for a Xenomorph, I mean, look no further. This guy is going to be awesome. I hope that I'm going to have the space to fit him in my display. I'm going to find a way one way or another, but I'm super excited to get this Xenomorph on display because, man, this guy has just so much presence. Look at the paint applications. Look at the detail in the head, everything with the body. It's just, this is a very intricate design here, and I really love how this looks. This doesn't at all look like an action figure or a toy. This looks like a Xenomorph shrunk down, which is, I think, the ultimate goal of Hot Toys, to provide the most realistic take possible on a character that you really love. So the base is awesome. The detail is awesome. Extendable inner jaw, 2 swappable carapaces. Those are pretty awesome. The new joint design, multiple hands. This guy's going to be awesome. You don't need a ton of accessories with him, but geez, this is just, look, you even get a face hugger, dude. An additional face hugger that you can articulate. Come on now. This guy's going to be a grail. And next on our list is the T-1000 2.0 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, I've been on record many times over that this is one of the best films ever made. Sci-fi, action, no matter what you want to classify it as, whatever genre you want to have it fall under, it is one of the best pieces of film ever made. I love Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I love buying the merch for this film. And I have been waiting very patiently, but anxiously at the same time somehow, for a remake of this T-1000 figure. And now we have it. We have a light up diorama base, multiple outfits that you can swap onto this guy, multiple head sculpts, and different metallic applications with weaponry, and of course the boot as well, to really make this liquid metal seem legitimate and real. You have a T-1000 here that I think is going to be absolutely amazing on display. Great head sculpt of Robert Patrick. Of course, you can do the cop outfit if you wish. I mean, most people probably aren't going to use that one. You're probably going to buy a second version if you want to do that, but I think the police outfit is going to be most iconic for most collectors. So I'm very excited to see how this is going to look in my display. The metallic paint applications, I think, on the feet and just the weaponry, I think is going to be super cool. And this base next to the battle damage base is going to be awesome. You can even have them fighting in some sort of diorama display if you wished. Something along those lines would look awesome. I'm probably going to have mine standing next to each other, as I tend to do with my display, but of course it's going to be super cool. The liquid metal applications on the suit there, just like in the real film, they were put on his body. So pretty cool. I think this is awesome. Likeness, not a 10 out of 10, but very good. I think this is a solid 8.5 out of 10 to Robert Patrick, and I think in person it's going to look even better. So very excited to see how this guy turns out, but the nostalgia, the iconography, the presence that this guy is going to offer, it's going to be awesome. Rolling eyeballs, this is going to look super good in your Terminator display, and I am glad Hot Toys is revisiting this line because, again, metal effects magnetically attached to the body. I mean, This is just super cool, dude. Super cool. So happy to have this one. Hopefully soon. Next up is the Chewbacca with disassembled C-3PO. Now, this one is super cool because the community has been long awaiting a new Chewbacca. We have the Force Awakens version, which was a massive disappointment. And then, of course, we have the New Hope version, which up until this one was announced, was considered the grail for Chewbacca fans. Any Star Wars fan who has a Chewbacca probably has the Force Awakens version. They teased one from Solo at one point, never ended up producing that one, never came to light. And now, of course, we have this version, which is going to be awesome. I don't think I'll find myself using the backpack C-3PO, disassembled C-3PO, so I don't think that one's going to end up in my collection anytime soon. But I can say that this Chewbacca certainly will. I've already pre-ordered this guy, and I'm super excited to get it in my collection. The coloring on the hair is super cool. The rooting of the hair, I think, is awesome as well. It's actually a pretty tall figure with a lot of presence to it. I think it's going to be really awesome. Paint applications look great on the teeth and the eyes and everything involved with the overall likeness for Chewbacca. I do hope that it comes out as good as the prototype looks with the styling of the hair and such, because Force Awakens even looked pretty solid with the prototype. And then when the final product came out, there were a lot of disappointed collectors, and I'm hoping history does not have a way of repeating itself in this specific case. So Chewie looks awesome here. Of course, he got bandolier, his weapon, his bow caster. I think that's going to be pretty awesome. And of course, we have C-3PO, should you want to display that backpack look. So really dynamic looking figure. This is an iconic character, and this is the best version of Chewie that we're going to get in the foreseeable future. So this is kind of like the ultimate Chewbacca as of now. And damn, again, I'm tripping over my words. Damn, does this look good. And I'm actually going to surprise some people with the next one on this list. This is the Hot Toys Feral Predator from the film Prey. Now, this one's actually set to release sometime soon. We are actually in March as I'm recording this video, and the figure is projected to release, I believe, March to April of 2025. So I hope that this one is actually going to see the light of day soon. This has been one of my most anticipated since its inception and announcement. I love this Prey film. I watched with my family, have a nostalgic connection to it, and I love how this figure looks. You do have a visible sort of torso joint there, but I think it blends in with the reptilian sort of scaly nature of this figure's texture in terms of his skin. And I think you're going to be able to conceal that pretty easily where it's not going to be a eyesore or problem whatsoever. Love how this looks with the actual Predator face, but I'm certainly going to be using the helmet because that's this Predator's iconic look. I love how this Predator looks. He is going to be a big boy. He's a little bit pricey at over $400, but I do think he got some pretty cool accessories, a ton of presents. The dreadlocks look awesome, and this is going to be a really badass dynamic figure in your display. If you're looking for a Predator figure, they very well may eventually remake the Wolf Predator, or not the Wolf Predator, the Jungle Predator from the original Predator film. And that could be one that ends up in your collection if you like that OG look. But this Feral Predator is going to be the one that I want. I do love the original Jungle Predator, but for me, Feral Predator is the one I have the most connection to, and it's the one that I think is going to be really cool for new Predator fans. So for fans that have watched more, modern Predator installments, not exactly the Arnold one from way back, I think this is going to be the one to get. And I think this one's going to be so cool, it's going to be considered a figure of the year contender. And I think the people who pass on it might regret it if they really like the film and Predator in general. Now, this is one that actually took me a second to come around to. The Hot Toys Battle Damage Darth Vader from The Force Unleashed. Now, this is not going to be something that I think everyone is going to want, but I do think it's something that everyone is going to feel FOMO on, particularly if you're a Darth Vader fan. This one is certainly a unique Darth Vader. The Kenobi Vader gave us our first taste of a battle damage Darth Vader, and it was certainly very fulfilling and rewarding. I absolutely love that figure, and I intend on keeping it even with this one. Probably will change that one to clean and use this one as battle damage, but you have a raised display base that has an adjustable function to it with an LED function as well. And of course, you have a cape that is already sculpted on that looks super cool. There is a lot to like about that. Certainly going to take up a lot of room, so I may just use the regular cape, but you have multiple swap out costume accessories, and of course you have exposed parts for the battle damage itself. You have visible wires, you have the burnt skin, and the overall texture that I think is going to be pretty cool on the actual armor plating. So super cool there, love that. You have the Kenobi head sculpt if you want to use that, and of course you have the Hayden Christensen open head sculpt if you would like to use that as well, and you have a Darth Vader actual helmet that has some weathering and battle damage effects on it, which is probably what I will end up using most likely, but I do love all of the options here. Of course, again, the visible burns in the skin, the wiring, and everything revolving around the battle damage with this figure looks super cool. I just love how this looks as an art piece. And for me, whether you played Force Unleashed or not, this is an extremely unique Darth Vader that you can't deny is going to have a shit ton of presence in your display. So for me, I'm going to be picking this guy up. I really love Force Unleashed, so I can find a way to justify this purchase. But definitely going to be grabbing this one and adding it to my display. And I think fans of Darth Vader may start feeling the FOMO on this one when it starts shipping. And next up, we have the Hot Toys General Grievous. And the reason I throw this one on here is because collectors have long said that they really want a General Grievous and they would do anything to obtain one. But I did see a reasonable amount of collectors balk when Hot Toys actually announced it. I think the price is very reasonable at under $400 for this guy. I do think the presence it's going to offer in your display is going to be pretty amazing. And General Grievous is just a badass, cool character with a lot of Star Wars history behind him. And of course, you know, again, if you're a prequel fan having that nostalgic pull to the prequel trilogy like I do, then for sure this guy is going to be very important to your collection. Again, I love Revenge of the Sith, which I'm going to use this one as in my collection. It's going to represent that for me. And I do love just how this figure looks. I mean, you got the wired cape that's going to add so much dynamism and personality to your display. I find myself probably using that in my display. Him without the cape still looks good, but I think that cape just adds a lot of, you know, presence to the overall figure and the look of the figure. So you have 4 arms there, multiple lightsabers, a lightsaber for each arm. Each of the arms pose and articulate, which is pretty damn cool. And I think this guy is going to be pretty stable in everything we dreamed of. Some collectors, I think, are worried about the stability of the joints long term, but Hot Toys has posted a photo, which I'll show you in a sec, that talks about the die-cast components to add more stability to those joints. And even here, you can see movable eyes. This guy's pretty much everything we wanted from a General Grievous figure. I'm not sure what more we could ask for here. 3 different modes of mechanical arm display. You can open the chest to showcase the inside there. I think it's awesome. This guy is going to be amazing. This is going to be a figure of the year contender, in my opinion, whenever it releases 25, 26. And I think for those who really like General Grievous and pass on this figure, I mean, when are we going to see another one? It took this long just to get this one. And next up, we have the Hot Toys Wolverine from Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool 3. And I think this one isn't going to be as surprising to most collectors just because this is a figure that collectors have wanted for a really long time. I mean, you have Hugh Jackman Wolverine in the classic Wolverine color scheme. You have a mask. You have an insanely good head sculpt, which is one of the best likenesses I've ever seen from a collectible figure. And this interchangeable battle damage effect's a cool base as well. Not a diorama base, but a cool simple one for your opposing with Deadpool. This guy is going to be amazing. This is just incredible. This figure, whether you display with the head sculpt on or with the mask version on, you're going to be super happy with it. This looks 100% Hugh Jackman. This is not a miss at any angle. It's perfect. It's beautiful. And I can't wait to see what Hot Toys does upon the actual release for this figure. But if you're a Marvel fan, I cannot see how you would pass on this one unless you just really didn't like Deadpool 3. You don't care that much about Wolverine. But geez, Wolverine in your MCU display, I mean, that is going to be presence personified. So if you're passing on this one, I'm sure you have a pretty good reason to. But for me, I can't pass on this guy. This is just too good of a figure. And I'm definitely going to have to use the head sculpt. Although the Wolverine mask looks great, the Hugh Jackman likeness is too good to not put on this figure. So I'm going to be using it. Interchangeable faceplates should you want to use the mask version. But for me, no chance unless you want to buy 2. I'm going to be using that Hugh Jackman head sculpt because it's beautiful. And finally, number 1 on our list is the Hot Toys Terminator T800 Battle Damage. Guys, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Terminator 2. I'm a huge fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's probably my favorite actor of all time, and I love how this figure looks. Again, it is a 2.0, so the DX13 does exist, and that was a great figure for its time, but this one's going to be better. There's no doubt about that. Hot Toys, every time they make a 2.0, there's always the crowd out there that says, oh, it's not any better. It's hardly better than my 1.0. It's better. So it's just going to be better. It's going to have better paint applications. It's going to have better details on the outfit. It has real leather this time. It has a better base this time, a better likeness. Everything is improved. If you're happy with your 1.0 version and you don't feel the need to spend the money or want to justify that purchase, by all means, that is reasonable. But to say it's not going to be better is crazy. It's absolutely going to be better. It's going to be a significant upgrade over the 1.0 version, which is already incredible. I'm totally on board with that, but this looks awesome. The likeness to Arnold I see at pretty much every angle here, the battle damage effects. I can tell you from having the DX13, the presence this guy has is pretty remarkable. And now you have real leather components and of course a head sculpt that's been improved in the paint applications department. 2 styles of head sculpt, so if you wanted to display 2 versions, you could find another body and do that. This guy's just amazing. Amazing. LED light up function with a separate rolling eyeball. this is a grail. I mean, if you missed out on the DX13, this is your opportunity to get an even better figure. So it really worked out for you. And the base is just awesome. Putting this next to the T1000 is going to be art personified. It's chef's kiss. I can just see it in my collection already. This Arnold figure is just can't miss, dude. If you love Terminator, Terminator 2, whatever, like this guy is just, this is going to be a figure of the year contender. And that's that, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for another video today. And those are the 10 Hot Toys still on pre-order that you kind of need in your collection. And of course, as I said, if you don't really want them, then of course you don't need them. But if you kind of want them, then you kind of need them, in my opinion. But again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know whether you agree, disagree. If there's any figures that you think are must own that I didn't include in this list, definitely let me know in the comments section below. You can also follow me, will.foxification on Instagram. We can always have conversations there. Lots of news that I post actually goes there first, so make sure to keep an eye out there for any updates. Channel or Hot Toys or in art or anything else you want to see can be found there. And of course, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like the video down below, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you're notified when content goes live here. We got reviews, live streams, guides, countdowns, and lists just like these. So everything statue and figure collecting you can find here. Guys, thank you so much for joining me once again. I will catch you in the next video. Peace out. See you later. Bye.